Moving further, let's discuss some terms on government budget and the economy. Revenue deficit. The revenue deficit refers to the excess of government's revenue expenditure over revenue receipts. Revenue deficit. Revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts. The revenue deficit in 2012-2013 was 3.6% of GDP. The revenue deficit includes only such transactions that affect the current income and expenditure of the government. When the government incurs a revenue deficit, it implies that the government is saving and is using up the savings of the other sectors of the economy to finance a part of its consumption expenditure. This situation means that the government will have to borrow not only to finance its investment but also its consumption requirements. This will lead eventually to cut expenditure. Since a major part of revenue expenditure is committed expenditure, which cannot be reduced, often the government reduces productive capital expenditure or welfare expenditure. This would mean lower growth and adverse welfare implication. Fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is the difference between the government's total expenditure and its total receipts excluding borrowing. Gross fiscal deficit is equal to total expenditure minus revenue receipts plus non-debt creating capital receipts.
Baba, what are non-debt creating capital receipts?
Non-debt creating capital receipts are those receipts which are not borrowings and therefore do not give rise to debt. Examples are recovery of loans and the proceeds from the sale of PSUs. The fiscal deficit, therefore, turned out to be 4.9% of GDP. In 2014-2015, it was reduced to 3.9% of the GDP. Fiscal deficit target for 2015-2016 is 3.6% of GDP. For 2016-2017 is 3.5% of GDP. And for 2017-2018 is 3% of the GDP. The fiscal deficit will have to be financed through borrowings. Thus, it indicates the total borrowing requirements of the government from all sources.